Hello everybody, here I am again, Bright Spark. First of all, thank you so much for your kind comments. This venture seems to have brought me out of my isolated state into the world, and I'm connecting with some very kind, lovely people, so thank you. It has been quite difficult for me because I'm a bit of a loner, as you've probably gathered, but inside there's a burning fire. Anyway, I thought today I'd talk a little bit about being rescued. First of all those dear little bears that we see on the videos in Australia are being rescued by some very, very kind people. And I think that sometimes these tragedies do bring out the best in people, don't they? And I've had some beautiful rescues all of my life, different ones I expect we all have, if you just think about them as being rescues. First of all, I left my husband 30 years ago without any money or anybody to go and live in a furnished flat. Above me were 6 students. You can imagine what I went through, but they were fun. They were young men, they were fun. They thought I was their mum, really, used to cook their meals and stuff. But for 30 years I've rented. I didn't have enough money to buy somewhere, so I've rented, and so I've had to move every 2 or 3 years. That's quite exhausting, really. But eventually, of course, I ran out of money, so I can remember this one little place. It was very damp and very cold and very miserable, sitting there. What am I going to do? I was going to be homeless. I had no money left. I had no one to turn to. In fact, I saw in the distance the spirit of my ex-husband, who was concerned about me. He was fine, of course. Men always seem to survive. No, that's a bit, you know what I mean. They seem to survive. Well, they got jobs. They can go on working, can't they? I wasn't able to do that. So I sat there and thought, well, here we are, you know, this is the end of the line, got nowhere to go. And of course, fortunately, the social services lady said, Beth, I'm going to rescue you, she said. And so I was moved to a property that's run by the council. That's another story which I won't go into, but at least I had a home, and I was eternally grateful for that. This is not the one I'm in now, but so yes, I was rescued. I was, you know, years ago when I was talking to some friends, I was actually in America at the time, California, at a festival called Wesak, a beautiful festival run by Dr. Joshua Stone, and I was running out of money then. Mum had just died, and I'd spent quite a lot of my inheritance, and I remember saying to somebody, what happens when their money runs out? And she did say, well, we'll be taken care of, and I have been. And I think a lot of these things that happen to us are really to bring out the fears, you know, fear of survival, even fear of not having enough food, and of course a lot of people don't, but for some of us it's a challenge to sort of not get into that, and to know at my age, I was almost 70 then, I can't remember how old I was. No, I wasn't as old as that. Nearly getting on. But I was rescued, and so thank God for that. And I always have been. So the second thing was quite recently, my lovely, well, it's not a lovely car, it's a nice car, it's a Ford Megane, no, Renault Megane, and it broke down on a very lonely country lane. The alternator belt had gone, and it's quite a heavy car to drive, and I didn't realise what the alternator belt does. Of course, it helps with the steering and so forth, and I thought, I've got to get to a garage. I hadn't got my phone on me, I hadn't got my rescue thing, you know, whatever you call it, so I managed to limp it, so heavy, to drive it into the nearby town, about 4 or 5 miles away, I suppose. Got to the garage. He said, well, we can repair it, but you'll have to leave it with us. I said, well, how am I going to get home? The town I lived in was a good 14, 15 miles away. Well, there was a bus station, but the buses are very rare and few far and few between. So he took me to the bus station, and I can remember it now. Talk about panic. I just realised suddenly I was about to get on the bus that the garage man had my whole bunch of keys, not just the car key, but my front door key. It's good if I realised it in time, because once I got home I would never have got in. So I didn't know what to do, and I just, God help me, just help me to know what to do. That's how I get. And there was one of these little tiny buses we have over here in the UK. We have little mini buses that do short journeys. And I went over to this chap who was having his lunch, sitting there eating his sandwiches. And I said, can I borrow your mobile phone? And he looked at me and I explained in a very hurried fashion what had happened to me. He said, tell you what, he said, it's my lunchtime. He said, I'll take you round there to get your key. I thought that was, well, it was angelic intervention because it wasn't his route, it wasn't his time. It was only about half a mile away, but he took me to the garage, got my keys, raced back to get yet another bus and come home. And I had quite a walk from the town to where I am now, my bungalow. So that was really an incredible rescue, I thought, because it was total. He said, for goodness sake, keep it to yourself. Nobody would know now, but it wasn't his thing to do, but he kindly rescued me. So yeah, I've had lots of. The third one I want to talk about, I'm not sure everybody will understand it, but I'm sure at some level it will go in because we're all kind of linked into the same thing, aren't we? I've got a spiritual master called Guru Maharaji, or Prem Rawat now as he's known. He's beautiful, he really is beautiful. He's here for us all at this very difficult time and looks after us and takes us. You have to sort of commit yourself to him, not to his beliefs. Obviously he doesn't have beliefs, he just talks about, he's just a teacher really, and you pick out what you want. And he's always been with me for the last 30 years, really. He's been my friend and guru, as they say. And I think I was obviously asleep, or I was in my sleep state, and I came across, on a journey, came across this immense blackness. I can't describe it to anybody. It was a black place that I knew I was heading for, going into. And I wouldn't say I was frightened, it confronted me. And the next thing I know, this beam of light from my right hand side, I feel quite emotional because it was such a beautiful thing to do, and it shot this beam of light into this darkness, and then my twin flame from the left joined in, so there were two of them, and it for 2 or 3, I wouldn't say minutes, I don't know how long it was for, shone this bright, brilliant white light into this darkness, and I was rescued. I don't know whether I had to go through it, whether it was changed, whether it was mine, whether it was from the past. We don't know these things, but I guess it was something I had created, and I was rescued. I to this day, and it wasn't very long ago, I'm thinking, what would I have done without that? I wouldn't have coped with that on my own. So yes, I'm very, very grateful for his help, and to everybody who's rescued me over the years, really. Gosh, that's good timing, 8 minutes. I've got loads more, but not today perhaps. We've just had a full moon. It's been quite a charging full moon, don't you think? So anyway, on that note, I'm going to leave you, love you and leave you. And once again, thank you for your kind comments. It's really very heartwarming for me because I haven't had a lot of kindness in my life, and it feels like this is the new start for me, so I do appreciate it. God bless. Thank you. Bye-bye.